Who killed this man? A man prone to such terrible allergies that he required the use of an oxygen tank? Was it one of two little old ladies? Or was it one of two men, both of whom may have been friends? Match wits with Rob McCool, as well as Ron McCoy, to see if you can solve this Madcap Mystery. Rob McCool's Madcap Mysteries, an RM production. Starring Ron McCoy as Rob McCool. Tonight's episode, The Case of the Nosy Neighbors.
So, I, Rob McCool, amateur detective, have just received a phone call from my good friend and former student, Inspector William Pierce. It seems that a man named James Eltisty has been shot in his apartment. The shot was just below his throat, and the chair in which he had slumped over is now soaked in blood. And I am meeting Will Pierce at the residence of James Eltisty. James Eltisty lives in one of the two empty apartments on the second floor, and on the main floor, the two apartments are occupied by two elderly ladies. Inside, I head down the hallway to James Eltisty's apartment. And once inside his apartment, my eyes are drawn immediately to James Eltisty's body slumped in the chair.
Hi, Rob. I see that you have met James Eltisty.
Yes, I actually already knew James Eltisty. I used to teach with him many years ago.
Oh, I didn't know. I am so sorry, Rob. Were you aware that he required the use of an oxygen tank?
No, he didn't use an oxygen tank over 20 years ago when we taught together.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for coming. Will Rob, there is someone you need to meet. His name is Martin Kelsey. He is in the hallway.
So, out into the hall we went.
Hi, I am Martin Kelsey. I work at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. I come to Liberty occasionally to visit my elderly mother. This time, while in town, I decided to come and see my old friend, James Eltisty.
Mr. Kelsey, tell these gentlemen what you told me.
Yes. Well, when I knocked on the door, there was no answer, so I tried the doorknob and found that the door was unlocked. So I peeked in. There he was, all bloody and still. I ran downstairs in a panic, banged on the door of one of the apartments as let in, and called the police.
Did you touch anything here before we arrived?
No, I don't even like being outside of his apartment now.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey. Please stand by. Rob, it is time for a chat with the neighbors. Care to come?
I can't today, Will. However, why don't we meet tomorrow at Cracker Barrel and you can fill me in?
Sounds like a plan. Let's meet there at noon.
Will do, Will. I wonder if Will has arrived yet.
Hi, Rob. I have a wealth of information to share with you.
I'm all ears.
I didn't mention it to you yesterday that James Eltesty, who, as you know, was a middle school science teacher, was also suspected of engaging in blackmail. We're still going through his papers, but that could be the motive behind the killing.
James Eltesty? Involved in blackmail? I find that hard to believe. You said yesterday that you were going to talk to his neighbors. How did that go?
Well enough. As you know, the apartment next to Eltesty's is vacant. The two downstairs apartments are occupied by elderly ladies. In apartment 1 lives Sandra Meyer, a divorced woman of 85. She was looking out her window about 11:30 yesterday morning and saw Eltesty return to the building. About 12:15, she saw another man whom she didn't recognize arrive and get buzzed in.
Interesting. And what about the other neighbor?
That is Barbara Whippick. She lives in apartment 2. She also heard the buzz. Mrs. Whippick is a peppery 82-year-old widow.
Yes, incredibly, I used to work with both Sandra Meyer and Barbara Whippick.
You seem to know everyone, Rob. Anyway, Mrs. Meyer and Mrs. Whippick have become close friends since moving into that building. In fact, at about 12:30, Meyer joined Whippick for lunch and some television. They were still in apartment 2 shortly after 3 when Marty Kelsey banged on the door and demanded to use the phone. Whippick had already buzzed in the delivery man and received the package, which were some preserves from a cousin. She didn't see him or Kelsey come in, but she did see the delivery man leave.
Did these ladies, these neighbors, know James Eltesty well?
They knew him slightly, even though they all, at one time, worked together in Liberty Public Schools. He got out and about a good deal despite a gradually worsening asthma. You may have noticed that tank he kept handy.
Yes, and I also noticed that no one has come to take our order. I'm not very hungry. Why don't we go outside and continue our conversation out there?
Great idea, Rob.
Well, I hope you had some luck tracing that midday visitor, the person who delivered that package.
Indeed. Officer Jeff Williams walks a beat in the area, and he recognized him from Sandra Meyer's description. He is one Craig Williams, who runs an auditing firm nearby and often walks to lunch. When we caught up with Williams in his office, he admitted that he had visited James Eltesty. He said that he and Eltesty had once taken an underwater basket weaving class and were good friends. According to Williams, he and Eltesty were going to come here to Cracker Barrel for lunch. This even though Eltesty's allergies to just about everything made it dangerous for him. Williams stopped to pick up Eltesty at his apartment, and they chatted briefly. Eltesty had forgotten about the appointment and said he had to do some work. So Williams left and lunched alone.
Of course, it would be helpful if you could confirm the delivery time of that package, that package of preserves from Barbara Whippick's cousin.
We are working on that. Neither Whippick nor Meyer recall the delivery service name, but we're tracking the cousin who sent the preserves.
Have you found the gun?
Not yet. We also checked the doors to the building and found them locked and intact.
Well, Will, you seem to be on the right track, and of course, knowing who the murderer is will help you focus your investigation more. Would it be helpful if I told you who the murderer was? Who murdered James Eltesty? Be thinking about that, and also be thinking about clicking on like, subscribe, and on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload a new video. And now back to Rob McCool's Madcap Mysteries. So, here's my reasoning before I tell you who it was who murdered James L. Tisty. First of all, James L. Tisty had such bad allergies, he probably would not have been able to have lunch in a place like Cracker Barrel. Therefore, Williams was lying when he said that he had a friendly relationship with James L. Tisty. And as it turns out, James L. Tisty was blackmailing Williams, and Williams murdered James L. Tisty.
Wow. Rob, you have done it again. Much thanks.
You are welcome, and I hope your investigation continues to go well. Right now, I need to be going on my way. This Madcap Mystery is solved, but be sure to join me in the next episode of Rob McCool's Madcap Mysteries. A shopper has been murdered, but who could have murdered her? Rob McCool is on the trail of a number of suspects that takes him from a household to a department store to an apartment complex to solve the case of the slain shopper. It's the next episode of Rob McCool's Madcap Mysteries.